Okay, good evening YouTube. Welcome back to this next episode of FPL Family with me, Lee, and this is Sam. And that's it, Sam. Game week 3 is in the books, and now we've got to deal with an international break. I'm so not ready for an international break. I just feel like I'm in the swing of it.
Nor England, we haven't got a proper manager yet.
Well, yeah, that is a fair comment. Yeah, Lee Carsley's still the caretaker manager, as far as I'm aware, of the England team. So, goodness knows what we're going to get in the... Is it Nations League or Friendlies? I don't know.
Nations League, I think.
Is it Nations League? Okay, so goodness knows what we're going to get. But the Premier League just... And maybe it's because Liverpool cooking on gas. More on that in a little bit.
God, here he goes again.
So maybe it's Liverpool doing well. But I feel like I'm in the mood. I feel like we're in the throes of it in FPL. I feel like we're just figuring stuff out. And all of a sudden now we've got a break. We've got a break. And there will be a lot of managers thinking about playing the wildcard, Sam, in game week 4. Are you going to be one of those managers?
I am not.
You're not? Okay, well, listen. Spoiler alert. We sat here, well, not even a spoiler. If you're following us on, if you're one of our patrons, you'll know from the Ohana podcast last Thursday. And if you were here last Sunday, you will know that I was considering playing the wildcard for game week 3 to be kind of proactive and aggressive with it. And I did that. I did do that. So I did hit the button for game week 3. I did play the wild card. Mixed results in the end. Generally good. Generally good. But we'll talk about it in a second and what I was lacking and what I didn't do as a result, right? So there's a bit cryptic, but we'll talk about teams in a second. As usual, we will talk about all the games that we've seen this weekend. Loads and loads of action going on, including a very nice result at Old Trafford. Very, very pleased with that. Sorry to the United fans, but this is my smug face. It will be here for the next hour and a half. If you don't like it, unlucky. It's going to be here. What was leakier, Sam? The Man United roof or their defence?
Wow. You've been pretty intolerable this afternoon, and I see that it's continuing.
I've gone back to unbearable level, Sam, because slot ball is very much on the agenda.
What is it that they said at the end of the commentary today?
What?
Something about winning a jackpot on a slot machine or something.
The slot machine has struck jackpot again or something. There's some crap pun that Sky Sports come up with.
Lee very much enjoyed it, though, at the time.
Very much enjoyed it. And despite the slight little hint from Mo Salah in his post-match interview that this might be his last season at Liverpool, did you catch that?
Yeah, but wasn't he just saying, hurry up and offer me a contract?
That's what it felt like. It felt like to me like he was negotiating. That's what he was saying.
Didn't it just sound like he was going, well, I haven't had a contract yet. Get your fingers out.
Yeah, come on, get your fingers out. Offer, and I would be offering him as much money as he wants, quite frankly. Absolutely ran the show again today. But he wasn't the only one. Slot ball looks like it is in full flow. It looks very, very good indeed. So we'll talk about the game, Sam. We'll do our teams. We'll talk about that. We've got some announcements to make around Sleeper and PickEm. So we've got the results of the match week 3, so game week 3 PickEm results. There is a clear outright winner that got 9 out of 10
since you've built
this week.
The ability for us to randomly generate a winner, we have not needed to randomly generate a winner.
Yes, so the whole kind of like, what if we get one or more people that are on the same score, how are we going to pick it?
Like we had in game week 1.
And in game week 1 we did do that, and we just randomly picked it. And everyone said, well, don't just you randomly pick it? How do we know it's random? So, all right, you don't trust me. Fair enough. I will don't
trust you either.
I will do a random just spinny wheel thing that I found on Google. And since then, we've not had any reason to use it because we've had 2 outright winners. So more on that in terms of the winner for game week 3 in a bit. We're going to talk about...
Have you worked out the manager of the month winner?
Not yet. No, not yet. But game week 3 is done and dusted. So I will be figuring that out first thing tomorrow morning, collecting all the scores and announcing who the winner for the Patreon August Manager of the Month is. So, yeah, we'll be looking forward to that.
And second and third, because second and third get prizes.
Of course, second and third get prizes as well. So there's just prizes galore today, Sam. Prizes galore.
Am I getting a prize?
Well, you're not getting a prize, but we are going to talk about something that you are going to be doing over the next few weeks, a charitable endeavour that you're going to be doing over the next few weeks. And we're going to be...
by good old Nigel.
Yes, we took a little bit of inspiration from our friend Nigel the Crab, who is in and moderating tonight. Hello, Nigel. Nice to see you. Real name Cyberdebt, one of our patrons, long-term patron and massive supporter of FPL Family here on the channel. Inspired by Simon, you are getting your finger at your backside and you are doing something what I think is a hell of an achievement if you can pull it off. But more on that a bit later on, and what we are doing via our Patreon community to support that endeavour. So it's all a bit cryptic. It's all a bit cryptic, guys, but let's get on with it. Let's get on with the show and say hello to a few people. Matthew Knights is in. Hey, Matthew, very nice to see you. Thank you for the super chat. A nice 77 this week without Salah. But Rodgers is a frustration. He says, well, listen, he's, only 5 million or whatever he is, Rodgers. He's not going to return every week, is he? A return of sorts would have been nice at some stage over the first few weeks. But Malachi Fox, thank you for the super chat. Hailey and Sam, Liverpool are title challengers, 100%.
Please, Malachi, please.
Like that, Malachi.
Please.
Like it.
It's unbearable enough living with Lee at the moment. Don't add fuel to the fire, please.
Yes.
It's
Malachi,
an absolute
love
nightmare.
Love it. FPL Gaza is in. Hello, mate. Evening, guys. 111k into the break. Loving that, Gaza. That is a very, very nice start to the season. Very nice indeed. Miles Smith, I can't comment on what he said, but welcome to the stream. Gavin Doyle, very nice. Very nice to see you.
Cryptic.
It's just, I'm not going to read it out. Gavin Doyle, Wildcard played, had Haaland, but Salah is now also a must given Liverpool's form and their upcoming fixtures. Yeah. It's all of the pre-season chat and narrative and rhetoric, all those words that I love to reel out, was all about Haaland versus Salah, and to a degree still is. And we're not really any closer other than to say they are both bang on form, which I think we expected before the season. Are you any clearer on who to have or who you're going to go for? I mean, you're on Haaland right now, right?
I'm still very much clear that I will be having Haaland.
Oh, I absolutely don't think you'll be selling Haaland, but is there a Mo plan or no?
Well, yeah. I mean, I haven't just whittled away my wildcard and not got him.
Well, we'll let the viewers decide, Sam, whether I've whittled away my wildcard or whether you think that it was the wrong thing to do.
The Ohana, I think the patrons were I was quite clear as to what I thought about your decision to wildcard on that. But yeah, I mean, I think for me, look, Salah today I was on a lovely green arrow. It was glorious. And then Salah
does Salah things.
Just did Salah things. And in the last couple of weeks, that's been okay because Jota's done some Jota things. But today, no Jota things to compensate for the Salah.
Oh, there was Jota things.
Yeah,
just didn't result in FPL points.
But I don't care about Liverpool. I only care about Spurs and about FPL. So for me, I'm watching Jota and I'm incredibly frustrated because, well, we'll get to Liverpool later, but I think in previous weeks we've kind of been able to, I hate using the word cover, but we've sort of been able to cover some of Salah. Not all of Salah, but some of Salah with Jota and the 5 million. Not getting anything out of Jota today made that difficult to stomach. If you had Luis Diaz today, you would have felt fine about Salah doing Salah things. And I think it's that, isn't it? It's just, how far are you balancing out the scores for one player with another? And I knew today could potentially hurt me. And it actually didn't hurt me as much as I feared. Salah hurt a lot. Trent could have hurt way more than he did.
Oh, don't even go there with Trent.
And certainly,
how have you dodged another bullet with Trent? All the Trent non-owners, you should be in the 4 or 5 millions by now. Because that is 3 weeks in a row where he should be on double digit. He should be 12, 13, 14.
You've got some quite strong opinions at the moment, haven't you?
Oh my God, the Trent non-owners, how do you feel? I'll tell you how you should feel. Incredibly lucky. Those of you that have got Trent should feel, and I'm one of them, should feel deeply hard done by, because that is 3 weeks on the trot now where, the guy, he should be on. It's very easy for you to sit there and go, oh, the bitterness because you haven't got him. But trust me, those that have got him, like me, and I know a lot of you guys have as well, he should be sitting on 45 points already in FPL. Absolutely mental. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely essential in my view. But
you are funny, man.
Anyway, Miles Smith in with a comment. Thank you, Miles. The prices this year are so good. Yeah, I agree. All strategies are okay. And I think that's something we have to... I think that's something, Miles, that is a very, very nice comment, mate. I think that's something that we have to kind of come to terms with, is that there is no... So far, with the 3 weeks of data that we've got, there is no one can sit there and say, oh, I've got this right or I've got this wrong. I mean, even those that have got Salah and Haaland, they're probably, if you started with both of them in game week 1, they are probably the ones that you would say have got it, inverted commas, right. But there were so few, because there was either a Haaland camp or a Salah camp. And even on Saturday night, I saw even loads of content creators, on Twitter and their YouTubes about, I haven't got Haaland and now I'm at whatever rank I'm at. I've had a nightmare and, it's horrible. And then they've got Salah captain today, and all's well in the world again. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's back and forth.
It's very hard, I think, this season, because, I agree. Was it Miles, did you say?
Miles, yeah.
I think, I totally agree with what you just said, because I don't think that there is a right strategy. Normally, by about game week 3, we're starting to look at a relatively template squad of 11 to 15, 17, something like that players, 18 players. And within that bunch of players, most people are starting to settle and you're starting to get this kind of more template picks.
Yeah.
This season, it feels like you've kind of got three camps. You've got those with Salah, those with Haaland, and those that have got both. And like you say, so far, there isn't a massive movement to one or the other. I think there's a lot of people that have got Salah who want both. There's a lot of people who've got Haaland who want both. And then there's a lot of people that have got both that currently probably are winning, about. But are also probably looking at the rest of their squad going, oh, there's a few other players there that I don't have.
Didn't have Saka game week 1, probably didn't have Palmer game week 2.
Maybe don't have Trent and are looking at that, who are thinking, oh, there's quite a few other players that I would like to have but can't have because I've got these two players. Because actually, I think in FPL right now, the bigger conversations are around the budget players and which budget players are the right budget players. And we've already had comments about Morgan Rogers in the chat earlier on. And, you know, you look at the budget defenders and which one of them is the right one. Like Leif Davis was appearing with some attacking threat this week, although it was a bit of a lucky assist on the goal that he picked up.
Who's
there.
that?
Leif Davis. Because it was just a pass, wasn't it, that ended up in a nice goal.
In a worldie. We'll talk about jammy assists later with Ollie Watkins.
But, you know, they're very much upsetly. But that's the point, I think, isn't it, at the moment, is that you're kind of debating on what you do. And so a lot of the big conversations right now are around the cheaper assets and getting the cheaper assets right. And
getting
then
on the value is important, isn't it?
Finding those right value picks, I think, is kind of key right now.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Simon, for the super chat. Simon, can you please stop super chatting us? You send us so much money. It's ridiculous. Nigel the Crab, thank you, though, mate. I too wildcarded. Feel you, brother. I also captained Palmer. I hope you weren't listening to me, mate. Plonker, he says. But I have Salah, Saka, Salah, Haaland, Mbeumo, and Palmer. Mbeumo becomes Diaz, and it's a premium midfield with Rodgers, who I'm not feeling the love for. Yeah, there's a few people just starting to waver on Rodgers now. But listen, at 5 million?
I don't think you
can't.
I mean, I must admit,
difficult to say wavering.
He was my transfer in this week, and I was very torn. And I said to you, didn't I, when we were away? Obviously, so we spent a lot of time together this week, which has been quite nice.
Lovely.
And we've done some talking about FPL, not loads of talking, but we've done some talking. And one of the things that I was debating, and I said to the guys in our Patreon community on our Ohana podcast last week, was that I took the price drop on Nkunku at the beginning of the week because I didn't really know where to go. There was a lot of options. I didn't know whether to just go straight Chelsea to Chelsea and get Madueke. I didn't know whether to move for Mbeumo, but then I didn't like the two fixtures that followed the Southampton game. I didn't know whether to go to Morgan Rogers because that was saving an additional budget, but also the fixtures are lovely and it gave me a route into Aston Villa, although I wasn't sure about Aston Villa because they've had a bit of an iffy-ish start anyway themselves. There was a lot of possibles and I didn't really know what to do. And in the end, I thought, I'm going to play the fixtures, and the best way to play the fixtures is by going for Morgan Rogers. And
he's still a good pick. The fixtures are great for weeks.
I agree. I don't hate that pick. I still look at it and I think, am I annoyed that I didn't go for Mbeumo? Yeah, of course, because he hauled and it would have been lovely to have had him in. Am I disappointed that I got Morgan Rogers though? No, because I still think that he will be a nice pick over the coming weeks. And I get what you're saying, Si, about how you can upgrade him to Diaz and then he makes for a really premium midfield. But I think there's enough in those fixtures for Villa over the coming weeks to make me want to stick by him for a bit.
Yeah, sure. There's a few people in the chat. Rodgers is trash. I've got it wrong with Rodgers. Guys, he's 5 million. Temper your expectations. JP Com, thank you for becoming a member here at the FPL Family YouTube channel. Thank you and welcome. If you guys want to join JP Com in becoming a member of the channel, then right next to the big red subscribe button, there should be a little button that says join. You can join in, you get custom emojis and all sorts of stuff by being in there, including highlighted chats as well. So JP Com, as a new member, welcome. You can feel free to get in the chat and put one of your highlighted chats in. We will answer your questions, mate. Very, very welcome and very good to have you on board. There was a comment that I have to read out because it was brilliant. Phil B, thank you for this comment. That camera angle makes it look like Sam has a Spurs cockerel perched on her shoulder like a Cockney pirate.
Oh, it does!
One for the podcasters.
I love that!
Second, like a Cockney pirate. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Should I move?
No, absolutely not.
Should I try and stay here all stream?
Absolutely not. Phil B is loving the Cockney Pirate, so no, we should keep him there. Keep him there. Let's get on, Sam, to some of these game week results then. So the game week 2 results. I was expecting a transition there. Why didn't that transition? Let's try that again. I didn't. Why did? Where's my transitions have failed.
Transitions off. The podcasters will be delighted because they hate the noise of the transitions, and you still not turn that down.
The podcasters are like, we don't care, get on with it. But for the YouTubers, I do apologise. I hope it's not just going to now jump from.
You've broken it.
Broken the transition. Hold on, there was one there. We may or may not get. Transition. We've got a little bit of new tech going on tonight, haven't we? A little bit of new tech.
We had some issues earlier.
We had some issues. A bit of an understatement. I spent the whole of the first half of the Liverpool game not watching the game.
No,
instead trying to fix
an exaggeration. It wasn't the whole of the first half.
Trying to fix the tech issues.
You did spend all of the Spurs game sorting the tech issues.
Matt Francis in. He's saying this is ads from Black Box levels of technical skills. I think even Az beats us.
No chance. There's no chance that Az is better at tech than me.
So, if there are transitions on YouTube, enjoy. If not, say la vie. Right, let's get on.
It's only taken us 2 seasons to get the transitions working.
What, 2 weeks to break it?
And now they've broken within the first 2 weeks. You've got international break to fix them.
Dylan Nadu, hey Dylan, no transitions, the podcast is ruined. Mate, the podcasters are loving it. They're like, we hate the transitions anyway.
The podcasters hate the transitions.
They don't give it,
they moan about them. I just get messages in my DMs on Instagram going, please get rid of the transitions, because they hate the whoosh noise. They think it sounds like air blowing in their ears.
I've turned it off.
Well, that's probably why. The transitions aren't working. You've probably turned the whole thing off.
No, I've not made that much of a cock up, trust me.
I bet you have.
Let's get into the game, Sam. And we've got so much to discuss. We do need to do this quickly. West Ham 1, Manchester City 3, back-to-back hat-tricks for the robot. There's a reason that he's 15 million in FPL.
You very nearly went without him.
Yeah. Considered it. Yeah, considered it. Yeah, but had I not gone with him, I'd have gone with Mo, and that'd have been just as good this week, right? 17 points each. So I think I very nearly went without him, but it was these next 2, West Ham away and then Brentford at home next week. I was like, he's my captain that week. And I know Mo's got Forest at home, you can captain Mo, I understand all of that. The reason, and we'll do Liverpool next then, but the reason I didn't go Mo is more to do with Chiesa coming in, but we'll talk about that in a second. West Ham 1, Manchester City 3, Haaland with the hat-trick. Yeah, what else is there to say about him?
I think the bigger talking point here isn't really about Haaland. If you've got Haaland, great.
Great, keep. And if you haven't, think about it.
If you haven't, try and think of an option. Because I think the issue here with Man City right now is there is no one else.
There's one. There's one, and we massively disagree on him.
All right, well, we'll talk about Rico Lewis in a minute. But in terms of the attack, there is no one else from Man City that you can have.
It's difficult.
Right now, there isn't. Because
De Bruyne, maybe?
Even De Bruyne isn't returning for 9.5 million. He's not returning the level of points that you would want to see for. What on earth is going on outside? Why is it so loud?
It's just a low flying jet. I've got the windows all open. It's still hot here in the UK, isn't it? So we've had to open the windows.
It is hot. What was I saying? Kevin De Bruyne. He's not worth 9.5. In my opinion, he's not worth 9.5 million right now. Doesn't mean he won't be, but you've got issues with players coming back from international break. Why is Foden still ill? How are you ill for 2 weeks? It's odd to me, but whatever. There isn't another attacking asset. I thought maybe Savio was going to be the one.
And might still be in the future.
But right now, I don't think he is. So I think in terms of Man City attacking assets, and this is why I went for Haaland over Salah in the end, because in terms of Manchester City attack, it's him or nobody, I think, right now. Whereas at Liverpool, there are other options. Now, all right, one of them didn't perform today, but there are some other options that you could go to over there. In terms of Manchester City, then, I think the question is there anybody else that you can invest in? Now, I know for you, I've got Vardiol, who I benched this week.
Yeah.
Which is complete, on reflection, completely ridiculous that I would have a £6 million
mad.
defender and choose to bench him. But I didn't think they'd keep a clean sheet.
Okay.
I just didn't see a clean sheet. And I was right. They didn't keep a clean sheet. And in game weeks 1 and 2, he had not been as attacking as he was last season. So I was already in my head.
But why? What's the give me some analysis as to why he's not as attacking.
Well, he's not, because I think there's multiple reasons why he's not. But
There's one reason why.
No, I think there's multiple reasons. One of them is that Rico Lewis is attacking on the other side, and so Vardiol stays.
Okay.
Another one is that they still haven't got their full squad back. And I still think that when their full squad is back, Rico Lewis is not first choice. And if Rico Lewis is not going, then Vardiol goes. So in my head, I was thinking, well, if Kyle Walker's not going to start this week again, then...
Is he still not fit then? What's the issue with Walker and Rico Lewis? What's going on there?
Well, and this is where we're really unclear, aren't we? We will become clearer if he plays for England over international break. If he goes on international break, Walker this is, and plays, then we'll know he's fit. And it's a decision that Pep has made to continue to start Rico Lewis. But in reality, Kyle Walker's worn their captain's armband last season, for most of last season. He is their captain. For him to be dropped completely for the opening weeks of the season, to me feels tactical, but it feels tactical not on Rico. Rico Lewis's performances have been great, and he has enabled a change in Manchester City for the better. I don't disagree with you on that. Where I fundamentally disagree with you is that I think Kyle Walker comes back in. I think as soon as the Champions League starts, we start to see that rotation around the squad.
Yeah, and he might play in the Champions League. And he'll play Rico in the Premier League.
Might do.
Because Rico is so the Rico setup. So firstly, I don't agree with everything you said, because Walker comes on this game week and he comes on for Guardiola.
Well, he does. Yes, but that's what I mean about I don't think he's not fully fit. I don't think that's the issue.
So there's that thing, right? But you have to watch what Rico's doing. You have to watch what he's doing.
I am watching
He is doing stuff that no other player in the Premier League can do, right? So
your exaggerations are a joke. He's not doing something that no one else in the Premier League can do.
Rico Lewis, from what I've seen, and it's a very small sample size, a little bit of last season, a bit of pre-season, only 3 games this season, right? But he looks special.
I don't disagree.
Special player. And the reason he's a special player is because he's not an up and down like Kyle Walker. City have played like that for years. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Walker's never been inverted. And you rightly say, at the back end of last season, Vardiol did the invert pretty successfully. But it did leave them open to attacks. And they kept conceding the odd goal.
They still are.
And they still are. I'm not saying they're not. So let me say it, and I'll tell you why it's, I think, bad for City defensively. Because the way what Rico Lewis is doing is not just inverting into what I would call the Trent role as a CDM, as a 6 or even an 8. He's inverting into the centre forward.
Mm.
Watch where he goes. And the reason he's doing that is because then Pep, particularly against low block teams, so we'll definitely see it against when they play home to the Etihad against the low block teams, he inverts and plays alongside Haaland. But where he got the assist for Haaland this weekend. He's up there part of a front 6.
But my issue with this is that they haven't got Foden and people like that back yet. When these players are in the team, you're not seriously telling me that he's going to be where Foden's going to be. He's not going to be. He's not going to be taking up those positions because they're going to have Foden in them. So I think it's doing it now because they don't have a full-strength team. I still maintain this. And I don't think we know it until we get a full-strength City team. And we haven't had one in 3 game weeks. All
right. Well, I think what he's doing is incredible. And he's up there as part of a front 6. But the key thing, and when you watch him, he does exactly this. As soon as City lose possession, bang. His recovery pace and his ability to get back into position, into shape, is brilliant. It's brilliant.
I don't disagree.
Now, there will be teams, like Kudos almost did in this game, where if you can break the City press and you can transition out of defence quickly on a counter-attack with a pacey player like Kudos, or next week maybe with a Brian and Mbeumo, which is why I might play him when they play City, you'll get some joy, right? And Kudos nearly did. He hit the post. And West Ham did have chances in this game. And City have been giving up XG over the first 3 game weeks. And that's because when Rico goes forward, they do leave themselves a little bit vulnerable. A little bit.
I mean, they've always done that, though. That was the same last season when Vardiol would go. They've always been vulnerable. They kept so few clean sheets last season.
Yeah. But City's City's success last season was built on a player inverting and joining the attack. Last season it was Vardiol. This season it's Rico Lewis.
So far.
But why would Pep go back to... And Foden was in that team when Vardiol was inverting and they were successful. So why would Pep go back to a back four with wingers?
But Vardiol wasn't inverting in the same way that Rico Lewis was.
Okay.
He's not going as far. I just think you might be right. You might be entirely right. It might be the end of Kyle Walker. I just don't see it. I don't see Kyle
He's
Walker.
33, 34. Rico's up and coming.
I know.
This is a changing of the guard.
Okay.
All right, well, listen, we disagree with it.
We fundamentally disagree.
I got him in on Wildcard simply because if I have those concerns about City conceding the odd goal, then I would rather have a 4.5 player than a 6 million player. Equally, if that player is also going to join the attack and get assists, that's the player I want from City, not Vardiol. And if I'm wrong, and you're right, and Walker comes back into the team and Rico becomes a non-issue, then get another 4.5. There's loads of people I can move to 4.5. So that's if I'm wrong. That's worst case scenario. Best case scenario is he breaks a game. He breaks FPL. He's just going to let everyone love him.
What is wrong with you?
4.5 attacking Man City defender. Why would you not?
Your exaggerations tonight are ridiculous, but sure, if you think so. Personally, for me, I'm not going there because I think there's too much risk. I've got Vardiol at the moment. My original plan, if you remember back to game week 1, was to sell Pedro Porro at the end of game week 2. However, the way that Pedro Porro started the season, I was like, I don't think I really want to sell Pedro Porro because although I don't trust the Spurs defence, I do like the attacking side of Porro's game, and we're seeing that in spades this year.
Oh, yeah.
It's very good. And like he hit the bar today. He was unlucky today. So I don't want to sell him, but I'm looking at, and I certainly don't want to sell Saliba because if there's not a red card, I think Saliba keeps another clean sheet at the weekend, but that's another conversation.
We'll do that next.
But I'm looking at Vardiol and I'm thinking, I've got 3.4 million in the bank at the moment.
Yeah.
He can easily be Trent. And having watched Trent, and maybe this is a nice segue into the Liverpool-Manchester United game, having watched Trent again today, I was like, I think this is the one that I have to admit I was wrong on because I at the beginning of the season, I just thought I wasn't sure about Slots Liverpool in terms of how I might start. I didn't really have a feel for how that defence might look because last season you had a lot of defensive injuries, to be fair.
Yeah.
And it did destabilise the defence and you conceded a lot of annoying goals here and goals there. And I just wasn't confident in the clean sheets. Plus, I wasn't really sure what he'd do with Trent because we didn't have a pre-season with Trent. Like, where's he going to play? Is he going to invert? Is he going to play in the defence? What's he going to do with him? Now we've had 3 game weeks. It's very clear how important Trent is to that system. And his attacking threat would make me feel better about not having Mo Salah.
Mm-hmm.
And so by having Jota and Trent...
You're on just Jota right now.
I'm on just Jota right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I'm going to continue to not have Salah till Wildcard, which probably feels like it's where I am, then adding Trent would give me another route into those Liverpool points because I sat there today and honestly, watching that Liverpool game was horrendous. I think that's the best way I would describe it as a Jota owner, only a Jota owner. Because Trent could have had, well, he got the clean sheet, but he could have had 3 or more attacking returns in this game. And
he's well unlucky with the one that gets ruled out, isn't he?
Yeah, but then he does there's another one about 4 or 5 minutes later where again he feeds Salah. And it's like, how's that not gone in as well? And then there's one where he feeds Diaz, I think. And it's just like, wow, this is going to be punishing. And I think, I'm not... The Man City defence, I don't trust it at all. They will concede goals because that's just what they do. Whereas the Liverpool one looks a lot more solid, a lot more of a unit. They know exactly what they're doing. And I feel like if I have Trent in my team, that will help me feel a bit better about not having Mo.
Yeah. Ken's Bromsgrove is in with a super chat. Thank you, Ken's. I think Ken's is a Liverpool fan. We seem much calmer on the ball, more control.
Yeah.
Formation and style of play certainly helps the defence. Gravenberg has been immense too. can't disagree with anything you've said, Kens, and agree with everything you've said, Sam. I think we look very, very good indeed. It's only 3 game weeks, but if you'd have said to me under the new slot regime, certainly when Klopp left, we all know I was here. I was quite emotional about Klopp leaving, right? As I think most Liverpool fans
for a long
were.
time you were as well. It wasn't even just at the time.
Yeah, it was the long goodbye, wasn't it? And then the final game at Anfield, it was all really, really, really bad. And the season kind of petered out a little bit in the end, didn't it? But with Slot coming in, if you'd have said to me, you'll do the first 3 games, and all right, the first 2 I would say were, definitely winnable. But going away to Old Trafford, that absolutely can be a banana skin. Of course it can. So to win all 3 games 2-0, I'm just delighted. I'm absolutely delighted with the start that we've made. Honestly, delighted. And everything you've said, Kenz, is spot on. We are controlling the play now. When we go 3-0 up, what often happened under Klopp, I say often happened under Klopp, but sometimes happened under Klopp, was that you'd see our defenders or Alisson would, go out for a goal kick, and Alisson would be like, right, grab the ball, get it down for a goal kick, bang, let's go again, we've got to get a 4th. Doesn't happen under Slot. We get to 3 today, and the game just dies. It just dies for the last 20 minutes. And we as Liverpool fans are not used to that. Man City have been doing it for years and have been very successful doing it. Is that as soon as they go a comfortable enough goals to 0 or goals to 1, they kill the game off and it just dies. And that's what happened, right? Apart from a Xerxes header, I think we were sort of okay today. We sort of managed it pretty well.
There was a couple of good saves from Alisson.
Yes,
but apart from that,
comfortable saves for him.
And I think the interesting thing for me is that, and I said to you, didn't I, is that when the team sheets came out, I was like, it's weird because normally, like for a lot of the teams so far, I still don't think we've got a full understanding of the best teams. Even for the managers that have been there previously, like there's still some surprises in the team sheets in these early couple of weeks of the season. And you're kind of like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But for Slot's Liverpool, it's like, right, okay, well, this is the 3rd game week in a row. We've seen basically the same team.
Yeah, not many changes. And when he is making changes, he's making them on like 70 minutes and it's taking out players who are important. Why is he doing that? I want to dwell on that. Yeah,
what?
Why is so Trent's off early, Jota's off early, Diaz off early, Salah not. I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, but Salah, because all these other players, apart from Salah, they all have somebody that can come in and replace them,
Salah does now.
Salah does now, but Trent's got Bradley, who's a really good understudy.
Yeah.
Jota's got Gakpo, and again, really good or Darwin, not so good understudy, but you're 3-0 up by that point. So even if Darwin misses every chance under the sun, it really doesn't matter.
Do you see him when he come on today?
No, I know.
I don't want to dig him out because he scored some really important goals for us, and he provided me one of my highlights of the season when we come back at St James's Park last year. And I don't want to dig him out because I don't want to. But oh my God, mate. Come on, and I'm not expecting you to score like Darwin, right? But what I am expecting you to come on is be as aggressive in the press as the front 3 were today, right? Jota and Diaz and Salah. Be as aggressive in that press and demonstrate that you can be part of that front 3. And he's just not it.
It's not his game.
I know it's not, but that's Slot's game. So Jota is safe as houses in that team, in my opinion.
But you asked me, why do I think he's doing this? Well, he's bringing them off when you get comfortable. So when you get to the point where the game is won and it's comfortable and you're 3-0 up, he doesn't need to risk Jota getting injured or Trent getting injured or Diaz getting injured or one of these important players. He can pull them off and protect them. And also, he said, and it was really interesting listening to him interviews after the game, he made a really interesting point, and he said, I'm going back to the Netherlands now for 2 weeks. When I get back, it's all hands on deck, because then it's the busy time, because we get the Champions League kicking in, you get the League Cup kicking in, you obviously get the continuation of the Premier League. So he's well aware, as a manager that's not managing England, he's well aware that we're going to get into this period between, well, here and the next international break in October for 4 weeks where we have absolute mayhem, and it is bonkers, and then we go again till Christmas and it's bonkers. He's aware of that, and he knows how important players like Jota and Diaz and Trent are to his system. So if you're 3-0 up in a game that you're comfortably winning, and you've got good understudies like Bradley, like Gakpo on your bench, you absolutely use them. Now,
now Chiesa. Do you think that that's going to have an impact on that?
Yeah, I do, because I think up until this week, when you signed him, and he didn't sign early enough for him to be able to play today, I think that's right. And obviously he isn't trained properly yet and all of that jazz. But we haven't had anybody that can come in and directly, like for like, replace Salah. I'm just thinking maybe ever.
Yeah, I think so. Jota's sort of done a job there, isn't he, in previous seasons? Harvey's come on and done a reasonable job there. But that's the point.
They're not like
but
for
that's
like.
the point. They're doing reasonable jobs.
They're not.
Whereas Chiesa's going to come in.
It's his position as well.
I do think that we are going to see him protect Salah a bit more.
I agree.
And when I talk about my wild card and my decision to go with Haaland over Salah in the end, I have to say that did play into my thinking. Now, we've already... we're seeing already that Salah in 70 minutes can do the damage, right? Of course he can. But it just played into my thinking a little bit that is he going to protect Salah? Is he going to be bringing him off at the same time as the Jotas and the Trents and the...
If you've got a replacement,
when Chiesa's there, I think you would. And in today's modern Premier League, right, it's not a 90-minute game. It's a 100-minute game sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So if you're bringing these players off on 70 minutes, they've got 70 minutes in their legs rather than 100 minutes. So what's that? That's, they're playing 70% rather than at 100% utilisation. And also those squad players, the Nunez's, the Gakpos, and remains to be seen whether these guys will be first choice in time. But right now, they're squad players. And Chiesa, I think, will come in and be a squad player. I do not think that he's going to come in and take Salah's starts by any stretch of imagination. Not
Probably
at all.
start the League Cup and places like that.
I would expect that to start with, yeah. And he's got a lot of Champions League experience. So maybe when we're not playing Real Madrid, but when we're playing the sort of so-called lesser teams,
but it's
maybe
different again because you've not got the league, the group.
100%. And Chiesa he's a versatile player, so he can play. And I think that's part of the reason we've got him, right? And by the way, I think we've robbed him. 15 million.
But he
ridiculous.
Wouldn't. But has he not done his ACL before? He's not 15 million.
Don't give me that. No nonsense.
No,
it's in the last year of his contract.
Yeah,
that's
but also,
why.
but he would have gone before then. My point is, he wouldn't be in the last year of his contract had he not done his ACL.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
this injury thing, people are blowing it up.
Well, we were in for him, weren't we, years ago, just before the injury.
Yeah, sure, but he played 37 games for Juve last season. He's a quality player.
He is a quality player.
He was
absolutely.
one of the main reasons the Italians won a major trophy, right? So
agreed.
I think he'll come in and be very, very able understudy to Mo, and will even cover on the left if we need him to, right? So got him for 15 million. I think it's the bargain of the summer. Honestly, I think it's such a good signing. So yeah, in my mind, I was like, well, will he bring Salah off a little bit earlier in future games because of Champions League now, because we've got Chiesa there? Yes, I think he will. Does it make Salah a bad FPL pick? Absolutely not.
No, of course not.
Absolutely not. I want to be clear on that, right? Right, that's enough on Liverpool, probably. We've had a super chat from Joseph. Thank you, Joseph, for the super chat. Hi, Sam and Lee. 80 points this game week. Very nice, Joseph. It's a great result today. I'm on Salah and Haaland. Very good. Thinking of getting Trent for Vardiol next week. So, same as you. Joseph's thinking Trent in for Vardiol. And Rahul, thank you for the super chat. We aren't used to seeing proper, solid, clean sheets from Liverpool. So, yeah, this is a new Liverpool that we're seeing. It's a new Liverpool that we're seeing, and I like it. He's he's a cold, calculated, tactically very, very astute manager, Arne Slot, and I like him a lot already. I really do.
It feels defensively a bit more like the Liverpool. What season was it when we all had Trent and Robbo doubled up?
Yeah, a few seasons ago now.
It feels a bit more like that season.
Yes, it does.
Defensively.
Yeah. Thank you for the super chat, George. Evening, Bonfields. Hello, mate. Glad you had a great holiday. We did. Thank you very much indeed. I obviously knew that Maradona is a big deal in Naples, where we were on holiday last week. But he's like a god, isn't he? He's absolutely everywhere, Maradona. He's on tea towels. They've got streets named after him. I think we ate about 3 different Maradona-named pizzas. Oh, God.
Flags everywhere.
He's absolutely is like a god.
Pictures of him painted like Jesus.
Like a deity, isn't he? Lee come back a different person. Are you sure? Looking forward to my wildcard Zoom with you, Lee. Yes, I'm going to be speaking to George, one of our patron supporters.
What? What are you speaking to George for?
What do you mean? What? Because he, unlike you, doesn't think that I whittled away my wildcard and wants some wildcard advice, Sam.
Oh, is that right?
So I'm going to give that to George next week. I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Fair enough.
Quick word on Man U. If that word is bad.
Don't bother.
Don't bother. Man United fixtures. Southampton coming up next. Crystal Palace both away. Spurs at home. Tricky. Villa away. The next 4, they just don't look investable.
I just don't know who you've got.
Don't look investable.
I was watching them today, and I honestly don't know who you would pick. Bruno you can't have. He's too expensive and he's not doing anything. Rashford looks like a total... Honestly, when Mourinho said that, is it Dele Alli or Dele Alli's brother, it feels like is that even Marcus Rashford anymore? Has he been swapped?
Yeah.
Garnacho's probably the only one, and even then he took him off rather than taking Rashford off.
Well, the crowd weren't happy about it, were they?
No,
It's
weird.
Happy about it.
I don't bother from an FPL perspective yet. It might come, but not yet. Okay. Even with Southampton next. Hello, there was a transition then.
There was a very slow, laggy transition, which doesn't bode well for our transitions going forward. But we're gonna crack on. We're gonna crack on. Let's talk about where do you want to talk? Let's go back to Arsenal one. We did briefly touch on it a second ago. Arsenal 1, Brighton 1. First of all, is it a red?
By the letter of the law, it is.
Oh God! Don't give me this.
By the letter of the law, it's a red card. But honestly, it's the softest, most ridiculous card I've ever seen in my life. And Declan Rice's face tells you everything you need to... Because Declan Rice is like, what? And we both turned to each other and we were like, what the hell's happened there? Well, if anything, we thought that Veltman was going to be booked. And then he booked Rice. And we were like, sorry?
I honestly couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
By the letter of the law, you can understand it. Yes. But it's not a red card.
I understand.
And it can't be. I mean, he's not deliberately
The ref
blocked it.
also sends Rice... The ref sends Rice off, and he doesn't want to do it. You can see the ref's face. He's like, I'm really sorry I've got to send you off, but you have kicked it away. So I'm afraid it's a red card.
Why has he not booked Joao Pedro for kicking it away in the first half?
Oh, dear me. It's so bad. The game is so badly gone.
Joao Pedro's, if you book him Rice for that, you have to book Joao Pedro for the... I mean, it's worse. Joao Pedro's when he boots it.
Okay. It is a sending off because he has tapped the ball away.
Well, he's blocked it, hasn't he?
And he has tapped... No, he's kicked the ball away.
Also, I know.
He's tapped the ball away. So by the letter of the law, the game is gone. I don't agree with the laws, but it's a red. And okay, he has to go. But do not tell me that Veltman wasn't meaning to kick him, right? I'm not having that Veltman... So Veltman's argument was that, well, because he kicked the ball away, I missed the ball and my leg swung into his. No. Joe Veltman, you knew exactly what you were doing to Declan Rice and you've had a swing at him and you deserve to go as well. It should have been a red card for both of them, for two separate things. Same incident, 2 reds. Veltman has got away with one massively. And Rice, I don't agree with it. It's nonsense. The game's gone. But yes, he does have to go. And you're absolutely right. Joao Pedro does the same thing, if not a million times worse in the first half, where he belts the ball halfway across the London.
and he kicks it to Spurs.
And Arteta's like, come on, what? And he doesn't get a bucket. He doesn't even get anything.
Nothing.
Whereas Rice gives it a little tap. And because he gives it a little tap, Veltman, already mid-swing, thinks, I'm going to carry on swinging here and get him in the dick. And that's what he does. Bang.
Another thing is that Joao Pedro then gets booked later on in the game, so would have been sent off, which would have massively changed the game again.
And it would have changed the FPL landscape
And it would have changed the FPL landscape. Yeah. And this is what frustrates me sometimes, is that I'm watching that, like, okay, we all know for years and years and years, if you kick the ball away, you will get a yellow card. That is the rules of the game. Every single one of those 22 players that walks onto that pitch knows that that is the rule. So if you do it, you should be booked for it. The fact he doesn't book Joao Pedro and then sends Declan Rice off for the same thing, but actually Rice's is minimal in comparison. The ball rolls about.
Yeah. All right, enough about that. Joao Pedro, good asset. Or still a rotation risk in your mind?
No, I don't think it's rotation. I'm not sure I ever thought it was a rotation risk, Joao Pedro. I worried when they made the new signings that he might become a rotation risk. But I think whilst Joao Pedro and Danny Welbeck are playing as well as they are, I think I've been saying for a couple of weeks now, I think while they're playing well together, they hold their spots. It's only going to be if one of them has a bad game, or if Rutter or one of the other new signings goes really big in maybe the League Cup, that we might then see them getting some game time in the league. But right now... Is
it Rutter, or is that how you say this guy's name, this new guy?
I think so,
Rutter?
yeah.
I don't know much about him, but I could confidently say that he won't press like Joao Pedro presses.
Well, no, but...
I'm very impressed with his off-the-ball work, Joao Pedro.
And Joao Pedro was like that last year when he played.
Very good, yeah.
He is that kind of player, but I think if you've got a Danny Welbeck or a Joao Pedro in your team...
Rutter, apparently.
Rutter,
not
fine.
Rutter, Rutter.
Whatever.
Maybe there's an umlaut over the U.
There might be. It's spelled R-U-T-T.
Thank you, Nigel.
E-R. But the point is, I think that if you've got a Welbeck or a Joao Pedro, you're very, very safe. I think for now, you're very safe with them. I don't see any reason why they would change that up. And I think if you are looking to change up your attack, and have a cheap forward asset, then having one of the Brighton boys, it makes a lot of sense to me. I think they've looked really good. Even in this game, they weren't dominated by Arsenal, I didn't think, in the way that other teams have been when they go to the Emirates. They were lucky to get a draw out of it, because I do genuinely think if Rice doesn't get sent off, then Arsenal defensively
they have control of the game. Arsenal,
they've got control.
Yes,
I don't see the clean sheet going.
No,
it takes something.
Yeah,
it would take something special from Brighton to have broken that defence.
Well, let's have a look at why I think Joao Pedro is a good pick going forward. For all the things we've said, and he's on my I got him in on my wild card. Have a look at the Brighton fixtures, particularly the next two: Ipswich and Forest, both at home, and then Chelsea, Spurs, and Newcastle. So it does get a little bit trickier around 6. But at 5.5, you do want him for those next two, don't you? And one of the reasons I got him was because he rotates so nicely with Brentford. I had Brighton and Bremo as well on my wild card. It came in for me against Southampton, which I needed because against Man City away and Spurs away in the next two, I'm not expecting big things. As of 6, yes, absolutely. West Ham, Wolves, Man United. And actually, if I was to extend this ticker out by some distance, actually up to about sort of, I don't know, game week 14, 15, Brentford's fixtures look really good. They have got an unbelievable run from game week 6. So Brian and Bremo and Visser and maybe even Flecken should be bang on everybody's radars for game week 6. But the reason I went for him and Joao Pedro is that, look at that, for the next two I can play Joao Pedro, and if I want to, I can bench Brian and Bremo. So I think Joao Pedro, certainly for the next two, and maybe, as an enabler for, however long he keeps his spot, which at the moment looks like he's keeping it. What do you make of Arsenal in this game? Apart from the Rice incident, you're right, I thought they had it under control. Havertz with the goal, nicely taken. Saka with the assist. Possibly could have had a bit more Saka. I think Ødegaard as well missed the chance.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of us are sitting here going, well, those that have got Haaland and Salah win this week. Yeah. Yes, don't disagree. But that's because Saka only got an assist. And that's because Palmer only got an assist. In a game week where either one of those two goes off, the Haaland and Salah owners probably haven't got those guys. Probably. Might do. If you have, well done. But probably haven't got those guys. So, yes, it was a game week for the super premiums, the two super premiums.
I must
because admit, the others didn't go off. Son didn't go off, for example, right? Watkins didn't do well, right? So that's the difference this week, is that those two have done well and the next wave haven't so much, right?
Yeah. I think Saka was a bit unlucky. There was definitely moments in that game where I thought Saka probably was going to get more. There were a couple of occasions where he looked like he was going to be through.
He and Havertz working well together. It's a good
pairing.
Good pairing. They get good chemistry there.
It's nice. They're not in each other's way.
No.
They know what each other are doing. It's working really well from an Arsenal perspective, that forward attack. And I think this game, if it had finished 1-0 to Arsenal, I'd have said, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But that sending off does massively change the game for them, because it spurs Brighton. It's not that Arsenal suddenly play badly. They don't.
No.
It just spurs Brighton, and they've got a man over, and it eventually leads to.
Well, they also did it before Arsenal could change their shape and get Italian new boy.
Calafiori.
Yeah, before they could get him on. Because once they got him on, okay, now we've got a bit of shape now and structure, know what we're doing. But Brighton kind of pounced in that moment of uncertainty, or that sort of with Arteta faffing about a little bit. So they did the right thing.
It's a bit of a mistake from Gabriel as well, isn't it? At the back, it's just one of those moments.
It is a mistake. You'd expect him to do better.
You would expect him to do better. It's just one of those moments, I think. But yeah, I mean, look, I've got Saliba. If you're invested in Saliba or Raya or Gabriel or whoever you've got, don't panic about that. I think Timber went off injured again.
Yes, I don't know how bad that is, but we'll have to have a look at that.
It is a bit of a shame, because I was watching that, because at 0.5 million cheaper than the rest of the Arsenal defence, was feeling like if he's going to get regular starts, could be a decent option for us.
Okay.
But obviously that's one to watch now if you are investing in Timber, or if you were thinking about wildcarding and going for a cheaper option in the Arsenal defence. Be a bit mindful of that now.
All right. Okay, well, we'll come back to the games in just a second, Sam, but we do need to give a shout out to... Here's a nice transition. God, it's laggy, isn't it? That transition, got to sort that out. Shout out to our friends at Sleeper. If you've not downloaded the Sleeper app yet and you're playing the PickEm game, then why not? Why not? It's completely free to do. No betting or crypto or any of that nonsense. We never do any of that. This is just a completely free to play app. The Sleeper guys have been big in the States with NFL and with NHL and with the NBA for a long time with the fantasy sports over there. They want to crack the UK market. They see FPL and our community as a way to do that. And they are, and you'll have seen, the guys at Black Box and I think the guys at The Wire. There's loads of content creators that are getting involved with Sleeper this season, and it's only benefiting us as a community, right? As an FPL community, because we have so much to give away, right? We've talked about our Manager of the Month competitions. That is now sponsored by Sleeper. More on that a bit later on. But if you're not yet into the Sleeper app and playing the PickEm League, well, you basically just have to download the app. Pick whichever, pick who's winning. Like, you didn't even have to come up with the scores. Who's going to win? Is it Liverpool, Man U? Is it going to be Newcastle, Spurs every week? You just have to pick who you think's going to win, lose or draw, and then you get a mark out of 10. Is it properly like a school test, right? Mark out of 10, and whoever gets the most out of 10 has a chance of winning £100 worth of Fanatics vouchers. $100 worth of Fanatics vouchers. For those of you wondering why we changed that, we figured out when we gave away the first voucher for kitbag.com in the UK that kitbag.com in the UK do not do vouchers. I had assumed that, and I'd assumed wrong. But they are owned by a company called Fanatics. Fanatics are a US company, and you will get $100 worth of Fanatics
which vouchers, you can use on Kitbag.
Which you can use on Kitbag UK. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you will win $100 if you are top of our Sleeper Predictions League every single week. I am going to bring up this slide here. So here we are. So this is these are the winners, or the winner for Matchweek 3. So there I am. I got 6 out of 10 this week.
Oh yes, I beat you this week.
Not bad. Did you get? What did you get?
Gareth,
7?
I got 7.
7. Okay, very good. Well, I got 6.
That's the first time I've beat Lee.
Not too bad. I was good 1 and 2. 3 not so good. 6 I got. But then Mail the Man. I got 9 out of 10.
Well
and like
done.
we said at the beginning of the live stream, Mail the Man is out on his or her own. So Mail the Man, expect a DM on the Sleeper app any minute now, over the next 24 hours or so. And you will find a voucher code for Fanatics for $100, Mail the Man. So there we go. It's as simple as that. Easy as that. That's all Mail the Man did. Is he just downloaded the app, predicted a few scores. He's got $100. That easy as that.
But remember, it doesn't end there, because if you are the winner at the end of the season, so if over the course of the 38 weeks you can pick up $100 here and there during the course of the match days, but after that, at the end of the season, whoever is top over the course of the whole season will win 2 hospitality tickets for a match for a team of your choice in the Premier League. And you'll be able to go and watch them for next season for the 25-26 campaign, because clearly we need to know who's won overall, so we can't give away it for this season, but you will get 2 tickets. You'll be able to speak to us, decide which team you want to go and watch, and we will find you some hospitality tickets to go and watch them.
Absolutely. So the sooner you get involved with this, the better.
You've got less chance of winning the hospitality the longer you leave it. So
if you rock up in game week 37 and you get 2 lots of 10 out of 10, you're still only going to get 20 versus someone that started like now.
You might get your $200.
You'll get your $200, but someone that starts now, you've got more chance come May of winning the overall FPL Family Sleeper PickEm League. Wilco's up there, by the way.
Is he?
He's up there.
Still?
Wilco's up there. I'm up there, by the way.
You can't win.
I can't win, but I'm tied 2nd right now.
If you... What, overall?
Yeah.
I'm impressed by you.
Thanks very much.
If Wilco wins, you 2 could go and watch Liverpool together.
Yes, let's do it.
He could take you.
Let's do it. Hospitality at Liverpool. Love that.
Did you put the QR code up so that people can?
I did put the QR code up. There we go. You've been badgering, nagging me about the bloody QR code for that long.
That makes it easier for everyone. They can just scan it now.
The QR code is on your screens right now. I did wonder, if you're watching us on your phone, how do you...
You can click on it.
Can you?
Believe so.
Did not know that. All right. Interactive QR code. I'll be amazed if that's the case. But if you're watching us on your laptop, get your phone out, scan the QR code. That will put you straight into our PickEm League, and it will prompt you to download the app, so you can get involved with this really easy. If you're watching us on your phone, there is a link in the description below, I believe. So if Sam's fancy technical, you can press the QR code, works, great. If it doesn't, then there is a link in the description below. So whatever you have to do to get involved with the Sleeper PickEm League, you can win $100 just like that. Just like that, every
Just for
single week.
picking the results of the matches.
Just easy.
What could you
I'm
want?
tied second out of several hundred people. Even a muppet like me can do it. Wilco's tied first. No, I won't say. Even Wilco can do it.
He's called himself Mr. Lunatic in the slang now.
Did it? Nice. So there we go, guys. That is the Sleeper Pick'em League. So get over there and download the Sleeper app at Sleeper Footy over on X if you want a bit more about the folks over at Sleeper. And $100 worth of Fanatics vouchers can be yours every single week. Every single week.
Buy yourself a nice shirt.
You can buy yourself a nice, do what you want. Yeah, loads of stuff going on kitbag.com, right? Right, let's talk about Mr. Brian Mbeumo. Brentford 3, Southampton 1. Was this Brentford being good? Was this Southampton being bad?
Both.
What say you?
I think it's both. I think Mbeumo for me feels like the one that got away. He was my pod differential this week. I convinced you, and I will take credit for convincing you that you should get Mbeumo over Smith Rowe.
You're going to take some credit for that, are you?
I am, because we had a long conversation about Mbeumo. And do you know what else I did this week?
Yeah, go on.
So, as you all know, Max, he's having a flyer again. The boy is having a flyer.
We triple captain Haaland game week 2, didn't he?
Yeah, but he started the season really well. His team was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a nightmare with his captain this week because he went different.
He got a bit too big for his boots this week. After
he
triple cap Haaland, he's like, right.
I'm going bold. I took him to football training. I said to him, Max, I had to make a transfer for you last night because he had... Who did he have? Oh, Nkunku, and he was due to drop. And I was thinking, I don't want him to lose another 0.1. And he'd gone to bed, and I thought, right, make a quick change for him. And I was like, I'll get him Mbeumo for him because he's got a great fixture this week. So in the next morning, I was driving his football training. I was like, Max, I've got to make a confession. He was like, what have you done? I told him. I was like, I had to make this transfer. And he was like, oh, all right. I don't know if I'd have gone for him. I was like, well, look, I think he's a really good pick this week and you can bench him next week. He was like, all right, fine, mum. Then he decided he wants to captain Smith Rowe. That's another story. Yeah. When, of course, then Mbeumo goes mad. He's like, Mum, I brought him in this week. I was like, yeah. Didn't bring him in my team, did I? Look, I think I said on the pod last week, this game felt absolutely perfect for Mbeumo. Tony just left. All the, him the man again. We had this conversation with George in the Slack, didn't we? Because George is a Brentford fan. The way that Southampton play and defend.
Can I just say it was actually that. I can't let that slide.
I told you to get Mbeumo.
You're taking some credit for me having Mbeumo in my wildcard.
Because you said I don't know whether
I'm not having it. I first had the thought when I watched Black Box in the week because I thought the guys did a really good piece of analysis on it.
What?
I then went and spoke to George in the Slack, our resident Brentford fan, and he was like, "Yeah, he's going to be the man from now on."
This is outrageous.
That is how I made my decision on Mbeumo. You can't take any credit for that. You cannot take any credit for that.
Oh, you are a joker.
I'm not having it.
Oh, you are in so much trouble.
But he's a good pick, right? Going forward.
Outrageous.
And Visser at 6.1.
Yeah.
Fun.
I'm outraged by you.
God, get over it.
Yeah, Elise only got him because I suggested it.
George is in tonight. He says, I'm taking the credit. Correct, George.
George!
If I want an opinion about Spurs, who will I go to? You, not George. If I want an opinion about Brentford, I'll go to George, not you.
If you want an opinion about FPL, you come to me.
What are you saying about George? Poor old George. You've been savage there.
I spent a load of time on the FPL pod talking about this. And you were telling me you watched Black Box after you listened to the pod. Christ on a bike. I'm not letting Laz have any credit for this.
Come on, get on with it. Brentford 3, Southampton 1.
The Brentford look good, but the next two fixtures are more difficult.
Correct.
They've got Man City up next. That's a difficult game, and then they've got Spurs. But then, Spurs defensively aren't great. So there's definitely potential there for them to score against us. And then Mbeumo, in the opening game of last season, I think he scored twice against us actually in that opening day fixture.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely plenty of potential there for him. The Man City game is the hardest. As long as you've got somebody like you mentioned before, like a Joao Pedro that you can have potentially bench him if you want to this week.
I don't mind playing Mbeumo against Man City now.
I don't think you have to
from what I
bench him.
saw against West Ham, and I saw. Listen,
but you're not going to bench Joao Pedro, so who are you going to bench?
Well, I've got 2 weeks to think about it. But at the moment in my bus team, Mbeumo is first sub.
Yeah.
But I don't mind playing him because from what I saw of Manchester City and what I've seen of them over the first 3 weeks, if you can break that press, you can split that back, you can get in front of that back six attacking overload, and you can hit him on the break with pace. And Mbeumo's perfect for that. I haven't decided yet, but if it gets to a point where for whatever reason I have to play him, I'm sort of okay with it, I think. I'm sort of okay with it. They can get a pen. He can score a pen. I don't mind it. I really don't. So, yeah, and Wimmo, good pick. Yeah, good pick, particularly from game week 6. Have a look at the fixtures, guys. As we said before, West Ham, Wolves, Manchester United from game week 6. That's just the first 3 that I've fit here on the ticker. Get over to Fantasy Football Scout if you're a member, or even if you're not. You can have a look at the fixture ticker. Have a look at Brentford's fixtures from game week 6 till like 14 or something ridiculous.
It's really nice.
They have got unbelievable run.
I think it's basically until the turn of the year.
Yeah, until like second wildcard territory.
Yeah, because game week 16 is the last game week of this calendar year.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty much till that point the Brentford fixtures are lovely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So Brentford looking very, very good indeed. Southampton looking like, I'm afraid, whipping boys. If you've got Flecken or a Brentford defender and you conceded that 95th minute goal, consider yourself very unlucky, because what's the dude's name? Sugawara. He's shanked that. Outside of the foot, he's sliced it into the corner. It's just a lucky one. It's a lucky one. Rattle through these, Sam. Leicester 1, Aston Villa 2.
What is up with Villa?
What do you mean, what's up with Villa?
I know they've won this game. But do you think that they're properly playing good football yet?
Maybe not, but they're 2 very, very difficult games to start the season.
No, I agree with that totally. But they should be comfortably winning this. And I don't think...
I don't know. Leicester gave you a decent game week 1, didn't they?
Well, they did.
At home?
Yeah, they did. But Aston Villa of last season comfortably win this. I don't know that we're seeing the best of Villa yet. And I am a little bit... So Morgan Rogers think he's fine. I'm a little bit worried. So I, in my head, was planning to sell somebody from my front line to get Watkins.
Isak, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
But... they're about to embark on this Champions League campaign. I think it's the 17th of September that starts, so just after the international break. The way that the Champions League game has changed for this season means that you aren't going to have an easy group game like you always had in the past. So in the past, you'd win your first 3 group games, you'd be through, and then you'd be able to just put out a weakened team after that.
Yes.
It's not going to be like that this year.
No.
Because the way that the league now works, you're going to have to win your games, right? So I'm looking at Villa thinking, last season, Ollie Watkins didn't play in a lot of the early rounds of the Europa competition because they didn't have to play him because of the level of opponents that they were playing against.
Yeah.
This season, I am a little bit worried about the way that Villa are playing right now and their ability to play on 2 fronts full strength in both competitions. And it's put me off investing in Watkins. Morgan Rogers, fine. He's 5.5.
No, he's 5 point, a little bit. 1 or 2, yeah.
Whatever he is. So he's fine. But Ollie Watkins... still coming off on 61 minutes, still being eased back in.
But they've got the option, haven't they? They've got John Duran, who's come on and done I took that header very well the weekend.
And actually, the one thing I would say is that John Duran, I think, has been way better than Ollie Watkins in these opening weeks of the season.
Looks hungry, looks up for it.
Looks hungry, looks like he's got a point to prove. That will have an impact on Ollie Watkins, particularly when the Champions League rolls around, and we see more of Duran in the Premier League and more of Watkins in the Champions League, or the other way around, don't know yet. But... it's put me off.
All right. Villa fixtures do look pretty good. They are sitting currently second in the ticker. Everton and Wolves, both at home, up next with Ipswich, Man U, Fulham. So, again, we said this, didn't we, in game week 3. This was the turning point for Aston Villa. There were a lot of managers getting Watkins on wildcard, a lot of Rodgers in, even a few, Concert ins, Nedeljkovic, who didn't actually start, I don't think, in this game. The 4.0 wonder kid that we were all hoping was going to be our Barco replacement. Didn't get the minutes, so don't necessarily think he's going to be as great as we thought he was going to be. But yeah, the fixtures still look good, so I'm invested in Conser and Rodgers, and I'm okay with it. I'm absolutely okay with it. I've got no issues.
I think that's fine. They're budget picks.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think if you've got Watkins, you're so lucky to get an assist on that. Well, it's not an assist.
Oh, don't.
It's not an assist.
Please, don't.
A stud touches the ball. How is that an assist?
I just can't see how that's an assist. Whoever's decided that needs shooting.
I mean, he touches the ball.
It's not.
That's why it's an assist.
It's not, though, is it?
Yeah, but he touches it. That's why it's
another
the assist.
Declan Rice. It's the rules, isn't it? But I just don't agree with rules anymore. Rules are just they're just.
You know when
nonsense,
George or
aren't
whoever it was said you've come back a different man? You have.
I just.
What is this? I don't agree with rules.
They're like Rice getting sent off for that. It's just not right, is it? It's just not right.
I don't know. I'm
and
happy
Watkins
about
getting
it.
an assist for that. It sort of flicks his stud. I mean, I'm not.
Rice
about it.
missing the North London derby feels nice. Thanks.
Oh, all right. Now I see. Yeah, I've seen why you're okay
I'm
with
fine
this
with it.
rice red. Yeah, I get it.
It was
yeah,
it was a clear and obvious petulant display. No, it wasn't. I'm joking.
Nice. All right, listen. Let's go back into here. Let's talk about. I want to talk about Spurs, don't we? But I do want to talk about Everton, man. Oh my.
The latest
God.
any team have ever thrown away a 2-goal lead.
Woo,
86th minute, didn't it start?
Was a bad one. If you think Onana has had a good start for Aston Villa, you can see just how important he was in that Everton side last season, because what has happened here, and briefly, because we're already miles over, right? But what's happened here briefly, because they're 2-0 up and they're kind of cruising. So what's happened?
I don't know, because I said to you, didn't I? Literally about 2 minutes before the first Bournemouth goal went in, I said, maybe I was right when I said that the EFL Cup might have inspired something in Everton. Maybe it's given them a bit of confidence. Then they conceded one, and if it had given them confidence, all of the confidence just disappeared, didn't it? It was almost like Everton went, oh God, it's going wrong. What should we do?
I tell you what, Simon is in the chat and he's nailed it. They're desperately unfit, and they said this on Match of the Day. They were absolutely shattered,
They were
Everton.
done, yeah, they were
And
done.
what happened was when Semenyo... Is it Semenyo that got the first one? Semenyo,
Yeah.
who looks a threat, by the way.
Yeah.
I like him.
He was already top for chances for midfielders.
Him and
over
Eze
the
were
first
up there,
two.
weren't they?
They were
Yeah.
top two,
The
yeah.
signs were there. If you got on Semenyo,
12
either on
each.
Wildcard or otherwise, fair play. Yeah, fair play. The signs were there, and you've taken a bit of a swing at that and got one. I like it. It's good FPL management. And he scores the first one, and you can visibly see
The panic.
the Everton panic.
Yeah.
You can visibly see the bottoms twitching, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
And their body language looks all over the place. And on the second one, I think they did comment about it on Match of the Day. Cook gets his first ever Premier League goal, but he just saunters into the box. The dude, number 42 for Everton, I can't even pronounce his name. Irogbenum, I think is how you say this guy's name. Someone in the chat is going to say, Lee, cut it out. This is how you say it phonetically. Someone put it phonetically in the chat for me. He's got the guy that's got the yellow card here on screen, Irogbenum, right? He just lets Cook go. Just walks past him, and I'm like, dude,
we were watching Match
follow
of the Day,
your
weren't
runner.
we?
It's disgusting that he's let that
Lee
happen.
was screaming at him. He was like, what are you doing?
What are you doing, mate? 2-0 up, and you've just conceded for 2-1, and you can't be asked to track Lewis Cook into the box. Disgusting.
But then it's a bad... And
Disgusting.
then is it Mikolenko, I think, for the third, isn't it? Who just makes a horrible mistake.
Oh, him and Michael
Tarkowski
Keane.
just looks at him like, what are you doing?
So Mikolenko goes chasing the ball into midfield, into the middle of the park, which is sort of okay. He's trying to win it back. I understand that. But then, who's the guy in midfield? Probably this dude again. Doesn't then fill in for him at the back. They're then short on that side. And then it's Sinistera gets shocked the goal from that side where Mikolenko's missing. Because no one's filled in for him. And he can't be asked to get back. And Michael Keane's crap. It just was unbelievably bad from Everton. And Bournemouth, I didn't think they were any good either, to be honest with you. Only Semenyo got a goal, and fair play, right? Fair play.
Best stadium in the Championship incoming?
Oh, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. It's Dyche's got to get them fit, and...
Who they got next, Everton?
Everton next. Let's have a look. Villa. Away.
Oh, yeah.
Villa away. You might be pissed off with Morgan Rogers, but don't sell him ahead of that, whatever you do.
No, I can't understand
you do.
anyone thinking about selling Morgan Rogers. You just keep Morgan Rogers.
Oh, God.
He will hurt you. Most sold player this week? Do you know who it was?
What?
Do you know who the most sold player this week was?
No.
Isak. Returned.
Oh, yeah.
Morgan Rogers,
this
he'll
can
be
happen.
up there. People be losing
Yeah,
their
it can happen.
patience.
Andrew Eames is saying it's Irobunum. Thank you, Andrew. Matthew's saying Irogbunum. Simon is saying Irabunum.
Oh my God.
All three of you said something different, you nutters. Right, last couple of games, Sam. Newcastle 2, Spurs 1.
Oh, for God's sake. There's a lot of things I liked about this performance. One, we didn't get smashed. We went to St James's Park and we didn't get smashed. First half, nah. Second half, Brennan Johnson came on, changed the game.
He did have an impact, yeah.
Genuinely changed the game. We were so good in the second half. We were creating chances. We didn't blimmin' finish our dinner. And I honestly can't...
Who was the manager when he take your chances? Who was that?
Martin Yole. And I genuinely can't... I can't explain how many FPL points I think Solanke would have got had he been fit for the last 2 matches. Because the amount of chances that we have created in Game Week 2 and Game Week 3, and nobody's finished them. And like there was one today where Odebert, the new kid, he just doesn't make the run at the back post. And the ball, Son misses it in the middle of goal. I don't know how.
Because he's not a striker.
But he's there. Solanke would have scored that. But if Solanke doesn't score that, if it's in the moment where Solanke's on the back post, which it could have been because sometimes he is there, he's 100% gambling on that ball not being hit in by Son, and he's making the run to the back post and it's a tap in. And it's infuriating in many ways because Brennan Johnson's putting in some really nice balls and nobody's finishing them. Game Week 4 is the North London derby. Oh my God, it's horrendous.
Spurs fixtures: Arsenal at home, Brentford at home, Man U away, Brighton away, West Ham at home. It's what you would call a mixed bag, Sam, I would suggest.
It
Some
is
difficult
a mixed
games
bag,
in there.
But there does feel like there's goals in those games. We are creating a lot of chances, and Solanke is due to be back after the international break, and he's obviously not going away with England, so he is going to be fine. You would expect to see him back in the starting 11 come Game Week 4. I was frustrated as a Spurs fan. I was also really frustrated as a Porro owner today because I was watching him. I don't know how he's not got an attacking return style, honestly, I don't.
Do you think that he suffers a little bit from Rico Lewis-itis, though? Because he does get forward like you wouldn't believe, Porro, and he loves a shot, doesn't he? For all that discomfort you had watching Trent, I had the same discomfort as a non-Porro
I bet you did, yeah.
Because he gets it and just shoots, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But does it leave you a bit short at the back? Because as soon as you make a mistake in midfield, which you are prone to...
Did today.
Yeah, because Isak shouldn't be scoring that, should he? That's a highly
But
avoidable
if Mickey
goal.
van der Ven's on the pitch, he doesn't.
No,
he
don't
doesn't.
give me that. It's a mistake in midfield. Doesn't matter who you've got at the back.
It does, because the pace. So
there's nothing about the pace on that second goal.
It does make a difference, because the pace getting in behind... Part of the reason that we play... And I said to you before I texted you this morning, didn't I? When you were watching Max, I was doing something with Evie. And I texted you when the news was coming on the Spurs channels that Mickey wasn't playing. And I was like, that's a problem. It's a massive problem, because whilst Dragerson I think is actually decent, and I like him a lot, he doesn't have the same pace that Van der Ven does.
He's no slouch, though. And it's not
not a
It's
slouch.
not as if Newcastle were blessed with like blistering pace. Like Gordon's quick and Isak's reasonable, but it's not an Embuemo or a...
No, but
it makes Salah.
But it makes a difference to the way that we set up and the way that we play. And I think that's the thing. For me, it makes a big difference. And I know that, it's like, it is what it is. But genuinely, watching Spurs, when we don't have Van der Ven, it changes the way that we play. They change the attitude of them changes in terms of where they go and what they do. Now, Porro will never change. He will just go. But the rest of them, you see them, they hang back a bit more. They don't go as far forward, and it does have an impact. I think if you look at the starting positions of Spurs today versus Game Week 2 and Game Week 1, you'll notice a big difference.
All right. Newcastle, from their perspective then? Good win for them. Good win for them,
because actually I think, particularly in the second half, they were the underdogs in that second half.
What
do
you make of Isak then? Like, so Isak gets the goal and his owners are kind of vindicated from holding him and not selling him for Watkins and stuff. But I have to say, apart from and it was a tap-in, right? It comes from a Spurs mistake and it's a tap-in, and I disagree. It doesn't matter who's back there, it's a tap-in. So I'm not looking at that going, I've massively made a mistake selling Isak. I'm kind of looking at it going, well, it didn't really show me much. Apart from that tap-in, I didn't really see a lot from Isak. Notice that he's nowhere near the bonus, I don't think, right?
No, he wasn't, no.
Oh, yes, he was. He was free bonus. What am I talking about?
I think for me, I've still got Isak, but it was mostly because I didn't really know where to go, because I didn't really want to go Watkins.
Yeah.
It wasn't really about wanting to keep Isak, apart from the fact that Isak actually does have a really good record against Spurs. So I was like, well, I'll just keep him this week.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely not... Towards the back end of last season, he felt like an essential pick, didn't he, Isak?
Yeah,
he felt like somebody that you had to have. and you had to have Gordon, and it felt like doubling up was the right thing to do. This season, I don't feel like that about either of them. I feel like both of them are replaceable. And if you said to me, Sam, I want to sell Isak and I'm going to get Joao Pedro instead, I'd be like...
Be okay with it? Yeah?
I'd be fine with that. Because actually, I think at that point, if you're doing that, you're probably then going for somebody like maybe you're getting a Salah.
You can do an Isak to JP, can't you? As Adam Stevo is saying in the chat, Isak to Joao Pedro and Saka to Salah.
Oh, but selling Saka?
Move.
Oof.
Yeah, but listen, I think it's doable, right?
What about selling Palmer?
You look at Arsenal's next couple of games, Spurs and Man City away, and you look at Salah's next couple of games, and Salah's got Forest and Bournemouth at home, you'd have to say that, yeah, you would expect that's got potential haul territory for Salah for those next two. Okay, you've then got a decision to make in game week 6 because Saka's got then Leicester and Southampton at home, and do you want to switch back given that Mo's got Wolves and Crystal Palace? But for the next two, I can absolutely see why people might get off of Saka and go to Salah. I can absolutely see it. Let's go. Well, listen, we'll go very quickly through. Is there any other talking points that we've missed from the other games?
Maybe just Palmer, probably.
Oh yeah, we should do Palmer. That's because we didn't watch this. It wasn't available.
We haven't seen
to watch in the UK, was it? But yeah, just an assist for Palmer owners, which is a bit unfortunate. But Eze, same as Isak, repaying the faith. And unlike Isak, I think Eze's underlying numbers were there. I think the case was there to hold him. Whereas with Isak, I'm not sure it's quite there as much.
Yeah.
But Eze's case to hold was there, and well done if you did, because you got the return today.
Yeah, and I think if you went from... it's very hard to know because we haven't watched it. It wasn't on the TV in the UK, but it sounded from listening to the guys in the Slack that were watching this one, because they're abroad, that Henderson made a few good saves from Palmer and from others, and therefore maybe the scoreline isn't as reflective as it could have been. Because I think Hendo did pick up a save point. I think he did.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think there must have been some good levels of Chelsea attack, but we haven't watched it. So I don't know whether you're as a Palmer owner, I don't know whether you're unlucky to have got an assist or
don't know yet
or not.
Don't know. But the reason I bought him in on my wildcard was to, and maybe we'll talk about my team in a second, but it was to take advantage of these fixtures, right? So it wasn't just that game today, but Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Forest. It's a nice little run, and I just thought of all the players that I'd want at Chelsea,
he's the one.
And it sounded as if Madueke had some chances again today as well, but he's the one that's nailed, right? Amidst their squad of an immense amount of talent in that squad, an immense amount of options for the new boss.
Is Jackson an option?
Well, maybe we have to start thinking about him as an option, because despite what we all think about in Kunku and maybe Joao Felix in that position, he does seem to be banging them in.
It's weird, isn't it?
Maybe we've all got a little bit of I don't know, just we've all got the scars from having Jackson from previous years, haven't we? And we know what he can be.
Yeah.
Maybe this year's different, I don't know. And in a season where we're looking at those forward lines and we're going, well, yes, Haaland and yes, Joao Pedro, but is it Isak? Is it Watkins? Who could it be? Well, maybe it's Jackson. I don't know. I certainly am not going to be going to Jackson because I've already got now Palmer on my wildcard. And that was part of the reason for wildcarding was I don't think people are going to be able to get there easily. I think he's a great option for captaincy at home to Crystal Palace. That's one of the reasons I'm going to play the wildcard aggressively and go after it. And that's not worked out, but that because had I not played the wildcard, I'd have gone for Haaland.
Yeah.
So it's not worked out, but I think with the fixtures coming up, I've made my bed a little bit with Palmer now, and I'm going to stick with him. And if I do want to go to Salah for these next two, it's not going to be Palmer that'll be the mate weight, I don't think. It's much more likely to be Saka. Let's talk about my team then, because like I say, I did wildcard going into this week. 74, so yeah, it's all right. It's a very, very small green arrow, 3%, which really is very small at this stage of the season. So my overall rank hasn't really changed. It was about 1.6 before, and it's about 1.6 again. So the way I'm looking at it and the way I feel about it is I'm one decision away from a really a strong wildcard there, because had I stuck with Haaland as captain, then yeah, and not Palmer, then I'm 10, 11 points better off. I'm in the 80s and I'm probably at about 500k, and I'm looking much, much better. But I reiterate, I'm going to moan about that, because one of the reasons for playing the wild card was to do Palmer captain. It was intentional.
Yeah, you were always going to do that.
That was always going to happen. Wild card in 3, because I want to be aggressive and go after the Palmer captaincy in a week where there is a lot of different captaincy options, like Mo, like Saka, like Haaland, and I thought, let's go against it and go Palmer and go a little bit aggressive. Like I say, had I not played the wild card, I think I'd have gone for Haaland because I didn't have Mo, and I wouldn't have backed the early kickoff with Saka. I don't think I'd have gone for Haaland. So is it a mistake to play the wild card? Well, had I not played it, I wouldn't have had Rico Lewis sitting in my team with 6. I wouldn't have had Mbeumo's 14, right? I wouldn't have had Joao Pedro in my team now. Okay, I've missed out on the 8 because I've benched him. I don't think I'd have done that any differently either, honestly. Away to Arsenal, I'm not playing Joao Pedro, right? With the rest of my team looking as it is. And there was a few people saying, wow, you can't play 3 defenders and bench Joao Pedro. I think you can at Arsenal. And were it not for the nonsense Rice red card, I don't think he scores the goal. But anyway, when I reflect upon my wild card, I go, okay, well, I've missed an opportunity there potentially to on about 10 odd points because of the Palmer captaincy.
But I don't think you've missed any. I don't think you'd have made any changes in terms of the personnel.
I'm happy with it. The personnel is what's key, right? And that's key because I've kept Haaland, so I haven't got this headache of how I get Haaland. I've got Palmer now in place for the next 2 weeks. And Mbeumo is sitting there rotating with Joao Pedro for the next 2 weeks, and then he's in there for game week 6 onwards. Rodgers I'm happy with because of the fixtures. Trent's in there, right? The Villa defender's there, and it's just going to sit there for the next few weeks while the fixtures are good. I've sorted out my goalkeeper. Robinson gets another assist. Rico Lewis, an assist. So I'm happy with how it is. I'm genuinely happy with how the wildcard is. I set my bus team for next week. I don't think I'm going to make a change. I might. We'll talk about that in a minute when we talk about your team. But actually, I'll do it now. So because of the new rules this season, my 2 free transfers from before wildcard are now hit. I've still got them. So I'm going into game week 4 now with 2 free transfers. And I've kept $1 million in the bank because I thought if there's something I want to do, I want to have the $1 million in the bank. So I can get from Saka to Salah. So I can do that. And I can get the extra by downgrading Mbeumo to like Harry Winks or something, right? So Mbeumo and Saka for the next 2 don't look great.
And then reverse it 2 game weeks down the line.
Maybe. And that's what I don't like about it because it does mean that I've got to have a lot of confidence in the rest of my squad. I've got to have a lot of confidence that I'm not going to have any other issues because that could potentially mean me taking a hit if I need to do that. But right now, I'm thinking, and I'll take the whole of the international break to think here. I know Salah might be rising in price tonight. I'm not doing it. I'm going to wait the 2 weeks out, see how all the price rises play out, and Saka and Mbeumo to Salah and Winks for free, I might do for next week. Then I've got Salah in place for those 2 weeks. I will want Mbeumo back in game week 6, I'm almost certain. And I might want Saka back as well. But I'll worry about that in game week 6, by which point I'll have another 2 free transfers.
Interesting.
Don't mind it?
I don't mind it. I just worry. I think for me, with things like that, you always sit there and go, don't bank in transfers. Like, that's one of the things that you always say, isn't it? Like, don't book them in. Like, don't go booking in transfers. But in reality, you are. If you do Salah and Mbeumo, if you swap Mbeumo and Saka for Salah and Winks, you know that in 2 game weeks' time you want Mbeumo back. Yeah. So you are booking a transfer in to bring him back. But
then I might do Diogo Jota to Mbeumo because the Champions League rotation kicks
absolutely
in. Maybe we'll have 2 extra weeks of,
It could be that it's a different player that goes out. But the other thing is that I also think that you will want Saka back. And so it's just a question of how much are you prepared to chase the points by going to these players because of those 2 fixtures, and then how far will you be prepared to sacrifice them? Because once you've got Salah in your team, in reality, it's going to be very hard to sell him again, isn't it?
Salah, yeah, definitely.
Once you've got him,
but these next 2 look absolutely brilliant for him.
I don't disagree, but
although I do expect the Forest defence to be better than the Manchester United defence were today. They're very obliging, right? And it was the mistakes from Casemiro, etc. Whereas Forest have actually looked all right.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
They've looked all right. So that's potentially what I'm doing, but listen, no transfers for a while, right? We're just going to sit on it for a bit and just take in some information over the international break. And I know what you're thinking, right? Played the wild card and now you're thinking of doing 2 transfers the week after. Maybe. Because I want to play aggressively. That's the reason for playing the game week 3 wild card, is playing aggressive.
I think the other thing, yeah, sort of. But the other thing that we would I said to you before is that I thought that you would want a wild card by the time we get to when everyone else is looking to use it. And one of the things that you said was, well, by that point, I'll have saved up 4 free transfers. Well, if you use them now, both of them, by the time everyone else is, you won't have that. So are you then being aggressive, or are you then going to be chasing and catching up? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly. And again, I'd have to look at my team and go, well, I'd have a non-playing 4.5 forward, Greaves and Winks in my team. So I've got no squad depth whatsoever. No. But I think if you're going to move towards a Haaland and Salah draft, you probably accept that, don't you? You accept that. Especially if you want a Saka and or a Palmer. I don't think you can have all 4. If anybody can get a decent draft together with all 4, I'd love to see it. But if you want a Salah, Haaland, and then one other semi-premium midfielder draft, and you want Trent as well, I mean, that's one way of doing it, is you just drop Trent down to virtually nothing and get a load of money out of that, but I'm not prepared to do that. Then, yeah, you've got to accept that maybe you haven't got a bench. I might not do it, but it's something that's on my mind because Mo just looks absolutely brilliant. But again, maybe I've got to stand by my original thinking, which I discussed when we did the Liverpool game, which is Chiesa comes in, takes some minutes off of Mo potentially on 70, 75 minutes. Champions League's coming round, so therefore I expect Salah to be more protected. And today was just, I'm not expecting him to get a 17-pointer away at Old Trafford, but it's entirely doable. On any given week, he can do it, can't he? He can do it. So small green arrow, but Wildcard was it a success? I don't know. You guys can decide that. Tell me in the comments whether you thought it was good or bad. I think it was probably okay. Had I chosen Haaland captain, it'd have been good. I think it'd have been good. Tell me about your team then. So 69 points. We're on the same total points, you and I, 218. So we're both at the same overall rank going into the break. A red arrow for you, but, nothing to be worried about, right? 69 points is good.
Very small. It was Salah.
Yeah.
That was
hurts,
it.
Right? Yeah.
It was Salah.
Before Salah, so come end of Saturday...
I was at 600k.
I was going to say, must have been all right. Yeah.
So, but before today, I was at 600k. Isak he steadied it. He basically dealt with the Palmer issue because a lot of people that sold Isak, he was the most heavily sold player this week. A lot of players had sold him, and if they'd sold him, they'd moved to Palmer. I think like yourself when you wildcarded. So actually, the Isak thing held it. And then going into the Liverpool game, and I said to you yesterday, didn't I? Last night, I was like, it's a good week. Although it actually was terrible when you look at my team. It's only really Robinson, Saka, and Haaland that really did anything yesterday. But then today, I was like, well, Isak will be okay. I've got Pedro as well. Hopefully, I get something out of them. The Liverpool game killed me because of Jota. Because Jota got nothing. Had Jota got anything, the arrow probably stays. Yeah. It's probably grey.
Yeah.
If Jota gets something. But because Jota gets nothing, it's a slight red. I don't even care at this point about the overall rank. Like, the key thing for me is how happy am I with the squad that I have. And I look at them and genuinely I think I'm like 1 or 2 players away from being really happy with them. Like, I still really like that squad. I don't even care about the Barco thing at the moment. Like, he's just going to sit there until I get to wildcard and I want to deal with it. I'm probably going to...
Treble Fulham, is that something to deal with?
Not right now. Maybe it is in a few weeks' time, but their fixtures are still nice and Robinson's still picking up points. I think my plan going into this next, over the international break, I think I'm just going to watch the transfers because Trent's going to rise. When Trent is rising, I'll do it. I'm just going to do Trent to Vardiol. If I then get a load of injuries over international break, I'll wildcard.
Yeah.
But if I don't, then I'll just be happy with that. And the thing is, by doing the Trent for Vardiol, I'm then going to have to play or want to play those big 3 defenders, apart from maybe next week where I might bench Saliba when he comes to Spurs. And that will mean probably one of my Fulham players gets benched every week anyway, because I'm going to play the rest and I'm not going to want to leave Trent on the bench in the way that I have with Vardiol this week. Yeah. So from that perspective, I actually really like my team. There are a couple of players in there I don't like. Henderson, I'd like to swap, but changing your goalkeeper is definitely a wild card thing. That's not a game, just a random game week change. That is a wild card thing. But defensively, the big at the back strategies work really well for me so far this season. Yeah. So I'm happy to stay there. The midfield looks okay. The Morgan Rogers thing this week, if I'd have gone for Mbomo, it would have been different. But I did think about it, but I don't think I was really close. I think Morgan Rogers always felt like where I was going to go. There's 3.3 million, I might be 3.4 million in my bank right now.
Yes.
So Vardy to Trent's going to take a bit of that, but not loads of it. And then the rest of it could be used for anything. Maybe there's an upgrade on Isak at some point to Watkins if Watkins starts performing. Maybe Muniz isn't Muniz. Maybe I drop him down, and that's weirdly where I'd probably go. Or maybe I want to go back to Solanke if he's fit.
Muniz to Joao Pedro, maybe?
Yeah, but maybe I want to go back to Solanke. Maybe I want to upgrade in the middle. Because the other thing is I could go for Trent. I could, if I wanted to, then the week after I could go for Joao Pedro instead of Muniz. That's going to free up a little bit more. I've still then got a few million in the bank, and that few million can get me quite close to Salah without needing to wildcard anyway.
Okay. All right, so we're both going into the break in reasonable spirits, aren't we? I think we're both sort of reasonable.
Quite happy,
yeah. Both pretty reasonable with where we're at. And both on exactly the same points. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it after 3 weeks? Just before we go, guys, a shout out to the lovely Sam from FPL Family. Tell everybody what you are going to be doing over the next few weeks and how it is going to be supported by our patron community.
They don't know this yet. I decided a few weeks ago that I really wanted to do the cancer research Shine Walk. Basically, it is a 26.2 mile marathon walk around London that happens overnight. So on September the 21st, I will be walking a marathon with one of my friends. We start at like 20 to 8 in the evening, and it will take me however long it takes. Hopefully Spurs will have beaten Brentford in the afternoon kickoff, and I'll be in a good mood.
Oh, don't tell George.
Oh, George will want me in a good mood for this. And then I'm going to do this walk. We have decided that all of our incomings from our patrons for September, we will be donating to cancer research. So all of the money that you guys pay us to be part of our Patreon community will be donated to my Just Giving page for the walk.
So it's important to say at that stage that so you guys that are our Patreon followers and we love you. There's no extra there, right? This is just your regular monthly September payment. Rather than it going into our account, we're going to stick it into the coffers for Cancer Research UK.
Yes, so that would all get donated to Cancer Research, and we'll put it on the Just Giving page so that you see it go in there, and it will say the FPL Family Patreon for September. So thank you to all of you for donating to it, even though you didn't really know that you were doing this, but thank you for supporting me. I'm not sure if I've lost the plot, but it is a charity that is close to our hearts. We've had a lot of difficulties lately with this horrible disease, and obviously Simon's been doing sterling work raising money for cancer for young lives, so yes, this will hopefully help as well. I did also share my Just Giving page on my Instagram stories, so if anybody isn't a patron and wants to donate, you can head over to my Instagram stories. I'll get Lee to pop it on X as well, and then you can donate there if you want to.
There we go. All right. So the Shine Night Walk, 26.2 miles. How long? So you're starting at 7 p.m.
7:40.
When are you planning to finish this thing?
So in my head,
yes,
I thought this would take...
This is around London, right?
Yes, it's all around London.
Okay.
It starts at Battersea Park. I think it ends at Battersea Park as well, and it basically walks all the way around the central London. I, in my head, thought if I could do it in about 8 hours, 7.5 to 8 hours,
okay,
that would be good.
Yeah.
And then I read that on average it takes about 11 hours.
As soon as you said 8 hours, I was like, that's a pretty fast walk.
Yeah. Apparently
11 hours
on average.
So you're through the night walking.
So
all-nighter.
I might be pulling an all-nighter. Max has got a derby game the next morning, so I might be pulling an all-nighter walking around London, getting the train back, and then going straight to watch. It's Saturday the 21st of September into Sunday the 22nd
Saturday
of September.
the 21st of September. If you fancy going and watching Sam walk
come
around
and
the
help. Come and
streets of
watch
London.
me. I could do with all the help I could get.
If you've got insomnia and you can't sleep at 3 a.m, come and watch Sam walking round the streets of London.
I will
at the
update my
Shine Night
Instagram
Walk.
stories with the miles that I've reached as I go through the night.
Well, so Adam Steffo, thank you, Adam, for saying that. He said people that run the London Marathon, it takes 4 to 6 to bloody run it. So
Yes,
there's
it
no way
does.
that you're going to do it, walk it in 7 or 8 hours.
It does take. So, but having said that, people walk it in about the best walkers finish it in about 6 to 6.5 hours, which is why in my head I was like, well, I walk quite all right. I reckon by 7.5 to 8 I'll be about right, but apparently on average it's 11. So I reckon if I could do it in 11 hours, I'd be happy.
11 hours, so 7:40 p.m. till what? 6:30 the next morning. God, you're brave doing that. You've
just have had a good
You've done any
night's
training for this?
Yeah, you've walked me halfway around Naples for the last 2 weeks. Last week. Yeah, I mean, I have. I've been exercising and stuff, haven't I? Like,
right.
It'll be all right. I've got my friend with me. We bought some like shiny headwear and wear some glow sticks.
Some
It'll
jelly
be a great
babies.
atmosphere. Percy pigs in the backpack.
Percy pigs.
I take my water bottle.
What could
London's
possibly go
beautiful
wrong?
overnight. What could possibly go wrong? Please don't rain.
What could possibly... Oh, God, imagine it rains. It'd be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Linus J, thank you for the super chat. He says, great cause, one close to my heart too, and he's super chatted $4.99. Linus, we're going to
Thank
stick
you.
that in
We'll
the
stick
pot,
that in
mate.
the
We
pot
will
as
stick
well.
that in the Cancer Research UK pot. Thank you very much. Nigel the Crab, I'll contribute to it, Sam. Nigel, thank you so much,
Thanks,
mate.
Nigel.
Share the details. So, yes, we'll put the links in the description below, but
stick 'em in
equally,
the
go
Patreon as
and
well.
check Sam out on Instagram, at FPLFamily over on Instagram. The links and stuff are over there. If you're one of our patrons, you are already contributing. You're at your usual monthly subscription to FPL Family for September will go into the pot for Cancer Research UK. But if you are not a patron and you want to donate anyway, just because you think it's mad that Sam's going to do an all-nighter in the middle of London, maybe in the pissing rain, for
There
26
is also a
miles.
chance that I go to the Spurs Brentford game and go straight from that game.
What? So you're going to go to Spurs Brentford and then immediately do this walk?
Yeah, then I might do. Oh, I don't know yet. It depends if my uncle comes down, doesn't it?
Oh my God.
But if he does come down, then brilliant. If he doesn't come, and then I'll just go straight into London. If not, then what I might do is go to Spurs with my mum and then get the train straight from there
Wow.
into the centre of London to do this walk, or to Battersea to do this walk.
All right,
I
Richard.
don't even really know how to get to Battersea. I have to work that out.
Richard Freeman, who we met at Fantasy
Hello.
Football Fest. Hello, Richard. He says, "You go for it, Sam. You got this.
I got
Absolutely.
this. I got this.
And I think you have as well. I think you have.
No, I
You
have got
Yes,
this.
you have. Yes, you do
Stop
have.
it.
You have, yeah.
You've got to be. You've
I
got to
am.
encourage me.
I am being encouraging, but I know that you've got a dodgy knee, and after 26 miles, that knee's going to be.
But this is part of the
throbbing.
reason for doing this is that I
Right.
have got a dodgy knee. I did all the tendons in it many years ago, and I can't run. But one of the things I always wanted to do before I was 40 is run a marathon. Now I'm not going to be able to run a marathon because my knee is
Knackered.
not able to do it. But I can, before I'm 40, do this. Maybe twice.
Well, there we go.
But we can get it done this year.
There we go. So the Shine Night Walk. Sam is going to be doing an all-nighter walking around London in a few weeks' time. So if you want to go and donate to that, either head over to patreon.com/FPL Family and join us for a month. Why not join us for a month over on that and you get some podcasts and stuff in return. Or otherwise, then go over to @FPL Family on Instagram and check out Sam's stories because
You
all
can
the
post it
links
to
and
Twitter
stuff
as well.
will be in there. That's it, Sam. What is coming up this week for the FPL community? Not a lot, right? We're having a bit of a week off, surely. International break. Surely it's quiet, no?
Not really. So tomorrow morning I will be joined by the lovely Sonaldo. I haven't spoken to Sonaldo yet
off
this
the
season.
bench.
I can't wait to speak to Andy tomorrow. So Andy and I are doing Off the Bench together tomorrow, which will be brilliant. We'll review Game Week 3 and all that jazz. Kelly, Jules and I will be recording the official podcast on Wednesday this week. We are doing a wildcard special. So if you are wildcarding over the international
Where was that last
break,
week when I needed it?
well, you went early, didn't you? International breaks are always wildcard, so we're doing a wildcard special on the official pod this week. So we'll be talking about wildcard teams and the best players to target. But even if you've just not made a transfer yet and you've got loads of transfers, it will still be really useful to you. But also this week, we are going to be doing some sleeper content, so keep your eyes peeled for that. That will be out this
Yes.
week. We are doing a draft league, which will be very exciting. Obviously, I've already got one going with some of our patrons, but we're going to have another one that we are going to have to agree on things, Lee.
Agree on draft picks. Can't see that ending well, I'll be honest.
I think it might end in divorce.
Can't see that going well.
Either that or I'll just walk through the night every night.
Very good. All right, guys. Well, listen, thank you for joining us on this bumper edition. It seems to get longer and longer every week.
We won't be here next week, though.
1 hour 42 tonight. No FPL Family live stream next Sunday because I'm not here.
Yeah.
I am away on holiday.
Not with me.
Not with you guys, on a boys' trip. So
Outrageous.
I will be... There's no FPL Family live stream next Sunday, but I've timed it well, right? International break. I've timed it well.
No, you haven't, because you're missing our date night.
Oh, sorry about that.
I'm still very cross
and
about that.
you'll be mid wildcard by then anyway with
I will
Salah
not.
FOMO, no doubt about it.
Behave.
Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Leave us a like before you go. We had something like 800 of you in at one stage tonight, so I hope you've left us a like. Hit that subscribe if you're new around here, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Enjoy the international break. And yes, Green Arrows, well done for anybody. Well done to everybody for getting good scores in game week 3, and well done for surviving the first 3 weeks of FPL. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Cheers, guys.
Bye, guys.